What's going on, guys? It's Luke here. Today we're going to run through a quick market breakdown on the day, January 7th. Before we get into this, guys, code LukeX will still get you 10% off all the accounts at Alpha. So if you guys are interested, link will be in the pinned comment for Alpha if you guys want to sign up. Link for the Discord is down there as well. Now, normally I release these videos every single day in the Discord. So if you guys want to join, again, links down there. I decided to just run these on YouTube today, just because I kind of just want to go over today's trade, especially because I know a lot of people ended up losing on this trade. I'm going to go over it a little bit in depth and talk about the trade, why I faded this one over here. I'm not really going to get over to PM session, but we had a crazy push towards the end of the day, as you could see in the PM session, and then we just started to kind of sell off after. So I'm really not going to go over this. I'm mainly just going to go over this AM session. So coming into the day, I had like a neutral bias. I just wanted, like, obviously I was favoring a move up because the 4 hour was in bullish order flow. ES was respecting out of a 4 hour bullish fair value gap at the time. As you can see, we were respecting off this gap. So I was leaning a bit more bullish, but I wasn't sure because at the time we were respecting out of a 4 hour bearish gap, and we'd also inverse this 4 hour. So I was kind of willing to see I just wanted to wait for market open. So as you can see, coming into the day overnight, we had this huge sell off overnight, and then we started to kind of recover coming into the morning. So what I was just waiting for was just some type of, either continuations higher, or we wanted to seek reversals down to London. But the thing about London low is we had an SMT. So if you put the kill zones indicator on, you could see that NQ never took London low and ES actually did. As you can see, that wick right there at the 5 a.m. candle came down and took out London low. So technically we did have an SMT off London low, and that was making it less probable that I figured we weren't going to come down. I figured we were probably going to run for Asia because we had these relative equal highs up here. And I think we also had, this previous week's high and all that stuff like that. We had higher time frame draws and liquidity. So market opens up and I faded this setup, and it was very similar to yesterday's. If you guys seen, so today's Wednesday, so I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. So basically, market opens up. Where was it? Okay, market opens up right here. We get a move, and then we come down and we respect into this 2 minute bullish fair value gap right here. And at this point, you see this price comes down in this 2 minute gap. We get this nice displacement candle right here. Now, you could have entered off of this right here. The reason I didn't take this, and I really wanted to take this, but the reason I didn't was because, again, we had relative equal lows leading through here. Again, even if you still have that bullish bias, like stuff like that's kind of going to throw me off. And I was going to look to take this, go break even at this internal high, and then just continue to hold. But we faded that. I don't think it was a bad setup, but it's just something that I would rather avoid taking, especially right after market open. We got that pull into that 2 minute gap after the manipulation, but again, relative equal lows. Like, if you just look at this, like, obviously it could play out, but just want to keep it safe. So from there, price just continues to trend up, and then we end up going in this range right here. And at this point, we had to wait for 10 a.m. news because we had red folder news at 10 a.m. So that ends up playing out, and as you can see, price puts in this top wick right here, and it ends up manipulating downwards. So we get a kind of like an AMD setup. We accumulate, we manipulate, and I'm looking to catch the distribution back up. Now, why am I looking to catch the distribution back up? Because we have now that 10 a.m. Data high as a draw, and we also have the previous week's high as a draw, which is right above it over here. So price pulls back and it respects into this 15-minute bullish fair value gap right here. And as you can see, we respect the CE, which is the midpoint of that 15-minute gap. Now, let me put the replay tool back on so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about and why I really gained a lot of confidence in this trade. So as NQ is continuing to hold this 15-minute gap, we look at ES. ES sweeps the low. NQ doesn't. So we have a bullish SMT off of all those lows right there. So NQ comes down, takes out those lows. ES is leading bullish, and we have a bullish SMT. We're delivering off 15-minute CE. I'm expecting price to come up to at least this data high, potentially to this high, and then to previous week's high. That's what I'm assuming, as long as we get displacement and volume off of that 15-minute gap. So from that 15-minute gap, a lot of people waited right here. They waited for this 3-minute to inverse, which is not a bad idea. But the problem with that is, in this case, you'd really want to wait for the retrace. You probably want to get in on this retrace right here. So you would have gotten an entry, say, right here, but at that point it had already taken out the 10 a.m. data high. So you could have tried to get in here, but the problem with this for me personally is I would have wanted to get in my stop all the way down there. and then you would target previous week's high. That's what I would have gone about. It could get you literally a 1-to-1, and if you guys watch, it ended up would have played out literally perfect. So for me personally, though, I had the data high as the main draw on liquidity. I was trying to just catch the move in and out because, again, I was just looking for that 1-to-1 continuation. I knew we were delivering off that 15-minute gap. We already had that SMT. So what I seen was this volume candle, this nice displacing candle right here at 10:04. Now we're trading into this opposing gap, but you have to look at the higher time frame narrative. We have a higher time frame SMT. We're delivering off a higher time frame gap. The CE point of the gap, clear drawn liquidity at this 10 a.m. data wick high. We got an open low. I'm looking for price to move back up. So we get this displacement. Stop. I run just down here. Target pretty much just about a 1-to-1 to this data high. I took off 80% here, and I left runners up to here, but that ended up getting stopped out. But we end up taking the W there. So the main thing here with this trade, again, if you did wait for this 3-minute inversion, let me just hide this really quick. If you did wait for this highest time frame inversion, which is something that I normally do right here, let me put the replay tool back again so you guys can see exactly. You get the highest time frame inversion, which is the 3-minute. You wait for a price to pull back into the 3-minute. You take the entry because you don't want to just FOMO it here. Problem here again is data wick high. So what's the next draw? It's going to be this one and the previous week's high. So you could take your entry here, but I personally wouldn't run my stop here. I'd run it below these wicks down here. I'd go break even at this high, and then I would target previous week's high. You're literally getting a perfect 1-to-1. You would have sat in some drawdown, and price would have ended up delivering. You will break even on this candle, and then boom, TP hit. That's the only thing I would say to do different. Other than that, man, there wasn't too much. Again, I'm really not looking at the PM. We just continued to trade up and up and up, and I haven't really even looked at what else we took out, but we ended up getting that sell-off after. But again, the two setups in the AM, we had this long opportunity right here off this 2-minute gap right here. Again, I personally didn't want to take this, even though I was kind of leaning more bullish. We just had all these relative equal lows down here, and I didn't want to get manipulated out one more time before we wanted to continue up. We wait for the news. We take this entry right here. Again, nice displacement. Stop right around here. 1-to-1, data high, boom. TP smashed. And then again, if you did wait for that inversion, you got the retrace, you're just going to be wanting to target the next draw on liquidity. And great trade. You just got to keep your stops below that protected low, and you would have been good on that one. So that's it for me, guys. Crazy move after. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but that's my review on the AM session. There was opportunity today, and hope you guys could, even if you guys did take that loss, you kind of learned from it. And you kind of see where I was coming from. I took this entry. Again, we just had displacement in our favor, and I just really like this setup overall. And just discretion, man. When you start taking these trades more and more and more, you're really going to build that discretion up, and you're just gonna see them, and you're just gonna understand them a lot better the more you take them. Even if you don't get the inversion, you get that volume in your favor, and it's going to be a good trade in your book. So that's it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, all the links in the pinned comment, description, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.